All right, hello everybody. Gonna wait for a few minutes to give people a chance to come in here. Anyways, I've got to step away from the computer for a sec. I'll be right back, but I'll leave you some music to entertain you while I'm gone. All right, I'm back. I just had to go take care of something real quick. Hey, Woody. Um, Flashback. Yeah, yeah, Woody. I'm just Well, I would just to go take care of something. Uh, real quick there, but I think hopefully I got to get it taken care of now. So, anyways, we're at the 3 minute mark. We got two people in here, so we might actually get started a little early today. Basically, overall, I'm going to probably be doing something like I'd say about 10, about 10 stories tonight, maybe 10, 11 stories. Um, I think overall 10. We got a couple Naruto profile pieces. We've got let me see what else. What else do we have? And I do thank you and appreciate any likes and shares. Get some more friendly people in here, obviously. Let's see. Um, let's see. Got a couple Naruto profile pieces. We got 3 DC related stories tonight, DC Comics related stories, including Nightwing getting a slew of award nominations. Let's see. Um, what else? No, there's one other anime that. Oh yeah, Adult Swim. I got a couple Adult Swim stories and more. So we're coming up on. We're at 4.5 minutes now, and with two of us in here, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna jumpstart this thing, get things going. Okay, so we got a couple of these stories from Adult Swim. One is an anime adaptation of a popular series, which we're about to do now, and then another new anime is coming the to the channel as well. And Woody, did you leave me? Did you maybe go back to RJ's stream or something? Let's see. And then get back up to two or not. Yeah, I guess I am the only one here now again. Anyways, all right. So with all that, let's go ahead and get started here. All right. So here we go. Rick and Morty go anime in new Adult Swim series. Adult Swim announces that it will produce a 10 episode Rick and Morty anime series helmed by Tower of God director Takeshi Sano. Article by Michael Lacerna, published 11 hours ago. So now Rick and Morty with their, I think what some people are calling the cow art style or whatever, now they're going to now try to go anime. All right, so let's see what this is all about. Adult Swim announced a new Rick and Morty anime series, appropriately named Rick and Morty the Anime. The new 10 episode series will be helmed by Takeshi Sano, who is best known for directing Tower of God and worked as a storyboard artist on such shows such as Psychopath and Shenmue the animation. Shenmue, they just, I think, just finished their first season run on Adult Swim, and now you can catch uh, the reruns of it at 3:30 Sunday morning, basically. So, the latter of which was also co-produced by Adult Swim. Sano previously directed two anime-style shorts for the popular sci-fi comedy series Rick and Morty versus Genocider and Summer Meets God, Rick Meets Evil, which generated a combined total of over 10 million views on Adult Swim's digital platforms. A teaser image for the new show was released, which shows images from Sano's previous shorts behind the silhouettes of the series' titular duo. So this looks like the trailer shot right here, and then scenes along the film strip there. Let's see. And as always, of course, if anything catches your interest, if you want to feel like you have something you'd like to add to the conversation or ask about, feel free to do so. Always encourage you. Quote, the multiverse straddling exploits of Rick and the gang pose challenges to the family bond, but they always rise to the occasion, unquote. Sano said of the new series. Quote, it's such a life affirming sight, and Jerry is no exception, unquote. Sano, who is described by Adult Swim as a, quote, Rick and Morty superfan, unquote, stated, quote, I am honored to have been given an opportunity to tell a new story about this amazing family. Um, I hope you enjoy their adventures, unquote. The new show will be animated by Telecom Animation Film, the studio behind Tower of God and Shenmue Animation. Adult Swim did not announce any other additional cast or crew for the new spin-off. So my guess is they're probably going to be using the same cast and crew from the television series for the end. So guessing that only new would obviously be Japanese, but if the Japanese were dubbing the series just as here in America we dub the Japanese will probably, as I said, they'll use the same DA for the same series. Anyway, getting ready, going on with the article here. Rick and Morty, the anime, was announced alongside Ninja Kamui, a new action series, and there is this is the other one. We will be reading that article as well. So just to give you guys a heads up on that. A new action series from Jujutsu Kaisen director Kung Hu Park. The show will tell the story of a former ninja assassin who moved to America to escape his violent past, but is forced back to his old ways when his clan tracks him down. The new show is being produced by E&H Production and Sola Entertainment, who previously worked with Adult Swim on 2021's Blade Runner Black Lotus. Quote, Toonami helped introduce anime to a U.S. audience 25 years ago, back in 1997, and is creating new, dynamic, or original for the next generation of animation. Unquote. Said Michael Oweleen, president of Adult Swim. Quote, these two series build on the legacy of those recent originals such as Tina Pirate Princess, Blade Runner Black Lotus, and Louis the Animation, and Uzumaki and Housing Complex C, premiering later this year. Both new shows will premiere on Adult Swim on HBO Max and currently have no release date. So there's no specific release date for these animes as of yet, but they will eventually show up on Adult Swim and HBO Max. So with that one, we'll begin. Let's go on to move on to the next um, movement. All right, here's the next article we're going to be looking at here. Pokemon Hisuian Snow anime is now streaming for free. Wit Studio returns to the time period and setting of Pokemon Legends Arceus with Hisuian Snow, a new anime series that is now streaming for free. Article by Michael Lacerna, published 10 hours ago. The new Pokemon anime, Hisuian Snow, um, is now available for free streaming. The premiere episode of the new miniseries, entitled Onto the Icy Blue, in quote unquote, was released through the official Pokemon YouTube channel, set in the distant past of the Pokemon world when humans and Pokemon still see each other as enemies. The 3-episode anime tells the story of Alec, a young man who returns to the Hisui region years after he developed an unexpected connection with a shiny Hisuian Zorua. The next episode of the series will premiere on June 8th and will also be released for free through YouTube. And there's the trailer image. Yeah. The new series is being produced by Wit Studio, the animation company behind 2021's critically lauded Ranking of Kings, as well as one of the current anime season's biggest breakout hits, the anime adaptation of Spy Family. And just to let people know, um, I do see the X there, but in Japanese writing, usually the X is silent. The X is almost like a hyphen. It's almost like a punctuation mark there for some reason. Kind of like a hyphen. If you guys have ever read hyphenated words, you never actually say the hyphen. X kind of is the same thing here. So it's 5 just like Hunter Hunter. You know, the anime is directed by Fate Grand Order's Ken Yamamoto and features a story written by Taku Kishimoto, who previously penned the Sword and the Shield miniseries Pokemon Twilight Wings. Hisuian Snow is set set in Hisui, a region of the Pokemon world that would later become known as Sinnoh. The time period and the region were first explored in Pokemon Legends Arceus, a semi-open world RPG that was released for the Nintendo Switch earlier this year. The game cast players in the role of one of the world's first pioneering Pokemon trainers, who uses the newly invented Pokeballs to catch monsters and unravel a mystery surrounding a massive portal that has appeared over the skies of the rugged, wintry region. While the game was criticized for its muddy visuals, it was praised for its changes to the traditional Pokemon gameplay formula and was an immediate hit, selling 12 million copies, becoming the second best-selling game of 2022 so far, behind only Bandai Namco's hit Elden Ring. While Legends Arceus and Hisuian Snow look back at the series' past, developer Game Freak recently unveiled a first look at the franchise's future with the first trailer for the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. The two titles will be the first games in the long-running series' ninth generation, will build upon the open-world structure from Legends Arceus. The games are scheduled to be released exclusively for the Switch sometime later this year. Fans looking for more of the Pokemon anime should turn to Netflix, which announced earlier this month that it will stream Pokemon Ultimate Journeys, the latest season of the ongoing Pokemon Journeys anime. The show's latest arc sees Ash becoming one of 8 trainers who has the potential to become the anime's first world champion. New episodes are scheduled to begin streaming on Netflix sometime before the end of 2022. So there we go with that one. If you guys are saying anything, hey Robert, hey Woody, hey Robert, welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a good day. And of course, if you can help like and share the stream and see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. Anyways, stick around. We will eventually get to some comic stories. We're just going to all the anime ones first. Just happen to have more anime stories this time. Anyways, moving on to the next article here. And this is the other thing we were talking about earlier with we were looking at the Rick and Morty anime series. Jujutsu Kaisen director unveils new Adult Swim series, Ninja Kamui. Kamui is the Japanese word for God. Just to let you guys know. Adult Swim reveals Ninja Kamui, so Ninja God, an all-new original anime series from the director of Jujutsu Kaisen and the artist behind Afro Samurai. Article by Michael Lascerna, published 8 hours ago. Adult Swim announced Ninja Kamui, a new show from Jujutsu Kaisen anime director Sung-Hoo Park. In its announcement, Adult Swim describes the new series as a quote futuristic action adventure unquote. The series is being produced by at E&H Production and Sola Entertainment, digital animation studio that is also working on the upcoming Lord of the Rings War of the Rohirrim. Sola previously worked with Adult Swim on the sci-fi action series Blade Runner Black Lotus, which aired on the network in late 2021. The series will feature characters designed by Takeshi Okazaki, the artist behind the cult classic Afro Samurai. The premiere date for Ninja Kamui, or Ninja God, was not announced, but the show will be available on both Adult Swim and HBO Max when it is released. Early. Not a red and white color in it, but the red is depicting, I guess, blood spots. Let's see. All right, so director Sung Hoo Park is best known for helming the first season of Jujutsu Kaisen's anime adaptation, as well as the series' first movie, Jujutsu Kaisen Zero. Both the anime series and the movie have received widespread acclaim for their intricate action choreography and impactful animation. Prior to Jujutsu Kaisen, Park directed God of High School, an anime based on a popular manhwa, which is basically the Korean comic of the same name. Manhwa is, I believe, Korean Korean comic manga or something. He also worked as an animator on several popular anime series from Studio Map, including Yuri on Ice and Garo Vanishing Line. So this is a story I've always wanted to tell. Um, Ted Park of the new series, adding, adding, quote, transgression and punishment of a ninja who loses everything and goes out for revenge. And what lies at the end of his road. I am very excited about this new project and hope fans will be too. Sounds like a very interesting series. Ninja Kamui will tell the story of Joe Higan, a skilled assassin who is trained by a powerful clan of ninjas. Higan travels to America to raise his family and escape his bloody past. But the clan he used to work for tracks him down, murders his family, and leaves him for dead. Oh boy. Now seeking revenge, Higan must use ancient ninja techniques to strike back against the clan's new generation of high tech warriors, which includes combat cyborgs and rival ninjas. The new series was announced at the same time as Rick and Morty, the anime, which we read about earlier, a new 10-episode spin-off of the popular sci-fi comedy. Quote, Toonami helped introduce anime to the US audience. Well, we read all that. That quote we read already um, from the president, so I'm not going to reread that. Just pre-read it. So we did see that already. So, anyways, I'm going to step away from the computer for a few minutes. I'll be right back. I hope you're all enjoying the content this far, and I'll be right back. Just gotta go. All right, I'm back. As we get ready to move on to the next story. All right, so anyways, on to the next story here. Yu-Gi-Oh reverses ban on massively popular card 17 years later. Change of Heart, the spell card that lets you control your opponent's monster, is no longer forbidden to play in Yu-Gi-Oh! The trading card game. Article by Haley McCullough. Um, all this nine. Now, of course, this is one of the cards that Bakura was known for using as well. Powerful spell card Change of Heart is no longer banned in competitive duels for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game. As originally reported by Polygon, Konami recently revealed Change of Heart is now eligible to play in the card game after spending 17 years on the banned list. Its status shifted from forbidden to limited, which means players can have one copy of the card in either their main deck or side deck. Change of Heart allows players to take control of an opponent's monster till the end phase of their turn and forces their opponent to discard a card from their hand if the player does battle damage to them with the creature. Change of Heart isn't the only card that is no longer forbidden. Other cards that have transitioned from the forbidden list to the limited list include the trap card Time Seal and the monster cards Jet Synchron, Performapel, Monkey Board, and Yada Garatsu cards like Cyber Angel Benton and Wall of Revealing Light are now classified as semi-limited instead of limited, meaning players can have a maximum of 2 copies across their various decks. Moreover, there is also a new way to duel. Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel launched globally towards the end of last year. Free to play on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and mobile. The game features over 10,000 cards, including iconic monsters like Dark Magician, Stardust Dragon, and Blue Eyes White Dragon. Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel also has multiple gameplay modes. While Master Duel is intended for both new and returning players, the game utilizes many unique card types and mechanics introduced in the more recent anime series like Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds and Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains. Um, this has left many players confused by the rules, highlighting long-running accessibility issues with Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game. Furthermore, with the premiere of the latest anime series, Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush, even more mechanics are being incorporated into the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game. Rush duels feature a more simplified gameplay style. Most notably, there are only 3 instead of 5 zones for monsters and trap cards. This means there are no pendulum, or extra monster zones in this format, similar to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links mobile game. Rush Duels also allows players to normal summon as many monsters as they want in a single turn, but all level 5 or higher monsters still need to be tribute. Change of Heart is commonly found in starter packs for Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading cards. While many of the franchise's anime are available on Crunchyroll and Hulu. So we go with that one, right? So, and then keep it on here. Next article, we're already at 43 minutes, 25 seconds. All right, so here's the first of two Naruto profile pieces. The 10 worst Naruto side characters ranked. Naruto has many supporting characters, from the weak Tenten to the evil Danzo Shimura. These are the worst side characters in the anime. Article by Brooke Thomas, published 5 hours ago. Okay, so and they have at least I recognize two of the pictures there. I don't know the one. I think the one in the middle is Kaguya, but I do definitely know who the two at the end. The redhead is Karin, and the one on the right there is Orochimaru. So let's go ahead and take a look at as Naruto's ongoing legacy series. Boruto continues to release new chapters and reintroduce old faces. Fans can't help but revisit the prequels characters. Both Naruto and Naruto Shippuden included many eccentric side characters from the Hidden Leaf and adversarial villages. Unfortunately, not all side characters were as interesting, well crafted, or cool as others. For example, the Konoha 11s, the Leaf 11s, Tenten and Kiba in Inuzuka were never allowed to prove their full capabilities. Others, such as Danzo Shimura and Orochimaru, committed crimes so heinous that fans rejected them. From evildoers to weaklings, some side characters were considered the worst in the franchise. Number 10, 1010 never got a chance. It's not Tenten's fault she failed to make an impact as a character. She got little screen time, and all the fights she participated in fell flat. Her mastery over weaponry, ability to summon any item, and proficiency in sealing jutsu were impressive and respectable. However, the show didn't give her a chance to display those skills. Yeah, I didn't see a whole. Usually, most of the time, you'd see 1010. It would usually be in the context as part of Team Guy, and usually she was most of the time outshined by Guy Lee and Nedge. Albeit she did like one thing they could have probably done to maybe try to give her a little bit more depth was maybe do a little bit more in terms of that potential relationship between her and Neji, because I do remember from the original series you almost got the impression that 1010 may have romantically had a thing for Neji, and that was never really explored or played out either. You know, for the character development side of it. But let's continue on with the article here. 1010 didn't do anything wrong, but she was the weakest side character of the Konoha 11. Her character arc felt like it had no direction or destination, unlike most others in the Konoha 11. Yeah, because out of here's the thing about the Konoha, about the Leaf 11, with probably the exception of Ten and Neji, all the members of the Konoha 11, had significant, they either had significant Kenkei Genkais, the Hyugas with the Byakugan, the Uchihas with the Sharingan. Um, granted, Sakura didn't really have any kind of Kekkei Genkai or family lineage either. But thing is that she was Sakura was like kind of the most proficient non Kekkei Genkai user. She didn't have the family lineage or the family the genes as it were. She was just proficient in chakra control, which made her just as strong as she may not have initially. She may not have a lot of like spectacular jutsu, but she can enhance like her physical form. For she became very very proficient. You know that Sakura Haruno that I'm talking about. Ten, however, they're right. They never really gave her character a chance to develop. She was just there. Probably most notable as you know, Neji's cheerleader. Hello, you fool, I love you. Wanna join the joyride? Join the joyride, yeah. Kiba Inazuka was loud and obnoxious. Now that's true. And you might argue it's because his family had the Kekkei Genkai of dealing with dogs, or a secret family jutsu deal. I don't think it was Kekkei, because Kekkei Genkai is a genetic trait, more of a genetic trait. But you also had certain families like Abarames with their insects and Inazukas with their dogs, where it was basically a family jutsu. Kiba Inazuka was one of the other Konoha 11 kids who never seemed to do much when he went on missions. Um, he constantly needed help or save. Now that's not entirely true. All right, I'm sorry, but that's not entirely true. I had to disagree with Haley on that one, because granted, he may not have been again as spectacular as some of the other characters, but he was a good taijutsu user. He's good at using his ninjutsu with Akamaru. You know, the Fang over Fang could be considered a very powerful jutsu and its variations. So I had to kind of disagree with the author's reasoning that Kiba's kind of weak. On top of that, he was overly confident and incredibly loud. He dreamed of being the Hokage, but he never displayed any skills worthy of the rank. Yeah, now that part I do kind of agree with. It to me, at least from have watched the anime, Kiba didn't seem to want to be Hokage until he heard Naruto wanted to become Hokage. It almost seemed more like he wanted to try to outdo Naruto, so he was going to try to become Hokage first. I don't know if being Hokage was really something deep down that Kiba really wanted. I don't even think he fully understands what being. Whereas Naruto, as much as you fault him for lacking, some level of intelligence, Naruto at least had a grasp of what it meant to be Hokage. Kiba, I don't think really fully grasp what it means to be Hokage. So I think it's more the case there where, he heard Naruto, and how can Naruto, a worst student in the academy, how can he be I could be a better Hokage than Naruto. That was his attitude for a long time. Um, and I think he even, I think he also wants to be the center of attention at times because, right now, of course, on Toonami, they're going through the fourth Shinobi War arc, the concluding part. I remember one of the scenes where Kiba's going, "I'm going to be Hokage. Is anybody even listening to me?" And then you hear Hinata just sit there and go, "Yes, Kiba, we hear you." um, yeah. Thus, one of Kiba Inazuka's biggest weaknesses was his misplaced ambition. Which I can agree with that part, but while Kiba still had fans, he was not well written, and he talked down to others like Naruto, despite being one of the weakest links. He was among the worst side characters for his obnoxious and lack of narrative direct. Yes and no. Yes, his obnoxiousness probably made him seem like he overplayed his hand. They could have maybe written his character better. I mean, there were some good episodes where he did have some good interactions with like Naruto and Hinata and all that, but um, again, I don't believe he was as weak though. Granted, he wasn't on the same level, and I think the thing that may have turned people off was Kiba would often act like he was on the same level as, let's say, Naruto and Sasuke, and I think everybody knew he wasn't on the same level as Naruto and Sasuke or Neji, you know. Um, you know, and he didn't really seem to have the ambition to he had the mouth for it, said I'm better than them, but he just didn't have it in, like, unlike with Rock Lee, who felt disrespected by Neji and trained hard enough to gain not only Neji's respect but a lot of other people's respect. But Kiba, it's not really the same. He doesn't. Again, I don't think he fully grasped his situation or has a real honest hold on what his situation is. Let's see if anybody commenting. Again, feel free to comment or add your input on some of these as we're. Karin was too obsessed with Sasuke. Yeah, I would have to kind of agree with that. I would kind of have to agree with that. Now, granted, from what I understand too, um, there may be a possibility that Karin and Naruto are distant relatives too. I think they said that the pink hair on the girls, or pinkish red hair on the girls, is a sign. It was like sign of being part of the Uzumaki clan, which of course Naruto's mother was Kushina Uzumaki. So, anyways, like Sakura Haruno, Karin was obsessed with Sasuke Uchiha. Sakura's reliance on Sasuke killed her popularity. The same happened with Karin. Well, earlier on, but once Sakura was put together with Lady Tsunade and matured, um, that kind of faded a bit there. that obsession that I mean, and now granted, Sakura eventually married Sasuke, as we would see in Boruto, but yeah, but same happened with fans hated Karin even more because she threw a wrench in the Sasuke Saku ship. And of course, when they're talking about ship, it's when people ship certain relationships. There's a lot of fans out there who wanted to see Sasuke and Sakura come together. There were just as many, I think, want to see Naru and Sakura come to the Naru Saku shippers. Of course, what we do know is that Naruto and Hinata became a couple. Furthermore, she flung herself at Sasuke, making viewers uncomfortable. Yeah. Again, I don't see how some viewers could be uncomfortable with that. You know, it is fiction. You know, what do they actually think that Karin's going to come through their TV screen and start obsessing over them or something like that? uh, a Karin fact fans might not know that Sasuke saved her during the Chunin exams, which sparked her infatuation. Yeah, I do remember hearing that about that at some point. However, this felt incredibly retconned. Karin's desperation to make Sasuke like her, relentless pursuit of unrequited love, made her one of the most frustrating characters in the series. Unfortunately, she didn't have the buffer of being a main character like Sakura did, which is kind of true. And Sakura again, Sakura was a lot like Karin earlier on, but once she started training with Lady Tsunade, she got better character development. She matured. She kind of while of course Sasuke was off with Orochimaru and Naruto was off with Jiraiya. Sakura spent those years training under Lady Tsunade as a medical nin and became quite proficient at that. You know, Sakura did come into her own. Now again, this part, maybe with Karin, same thing kind of thing where we wonder if she's able to come into her own, you know, side of this. But Ebisu was a bit of a creep. Ebisu was a pervert and arrogant. Like many Hidden Leaf villagers, he looked down on Naruto Uzumaki. Well, I mean, you can't necessarily fault him for that part because, again, the whole point of idea of the Nine Tails being sealed inside of Naruto and eventually taking over and coming out of Naruto and destroying everybody in the village. I mean, that part's understandable. His primary function was a comic relief character, but he made a joke of the Jonin. Yeah, probably. Well, if you remember too, he wasn't a full when the series started, when manga started, he wasn't a full Jonin. He was a specialist Jonin, right? He was a specialized tutor. So so he wasn't on, let's say, the same level as I mean, he was well versed in all the techniques and all that. Um but once he was assigned to be the Jonin trainer of Konohamaru's group, a lot of those comedic elements, I think, did actually go away. And he did get serious. You know, plus many of those jokes relied on sexual innuendo, which felt inappropriate. most of these moments of forced humor failed to land. I don't entirely. I think some of them did. I think okay. They may what it may be more. It may be that they at times throughout the first Naruto, you know, when they were doing it more early on, they may have over relied on it a little much. But like when at the first side, I mean, one of the things I remember from early on in the series when they were talking about that was, you know, when the third Hokage learned of Naruto's quote unquote sexy jutsu um, and how Ebisu had fallen for Naruto's sexy jutsu. And you could just see in a very sly manner the third Hokage, Saratobi Sensei, going, "Yeah, and I'd probably become victim to that too." But even that aspect, even Naruto's usage of the sexy jutsu, you know, I have as of yet to see it. Granted, I've watched Shippuden up through the fourth Shinobi war arc here, and I have really yet to see Naruto even attempt to use the sexy or the harem jutsu. Yes, Konohamaru still will try to use it now and again, but Naruto doesn't. It's like Naruto grew out of that. I think he even at one point kind of chastised Konohamaru for it. At one point, um, saying, "Yeah, you got to grow out of that, kid." So, all right, let's see now. Yeah, all right. So, fans were upset when Kakashi assigned Ebisu to train Naruto. The Jonin was superfluous, and the show would have benefited from sending Naruto straight to Jiraiya for tutelage. He was such a poorly executed side character that his presence was detrimental. I don't necessarily agree with that because you did see Ebisu at that point when he was training Naruto before Jiraiya took over. You did see Ebisu show his muster when when he went after Naruto and caught up with Naruto, with the Shadow Clone Jutsu. So I think I think in this case the author is being a little over. Maybe she's just so. It just seems like she's pulling an SJW move with Eddie Sue just because they had him have that one meeting about him being a pervert. You know easily distracted that way. Number six, Haruzen Sarutobi caused a lot of political issues. Oh, so now she's got a criticism, and I think with the exception of Karin, oh, okay, Karin and Tenten. So never mind that. I was about to say, oh, there's Brooke Thomas who actually, but Brooke Thomas here. Okay, my bad. I thought it was Haley. Brooke Thomas here. I think she's just SJWing a lot of this. Um, Anyways, Hiruzen Sarutobi caused a lot of political issues. Let's see what this one's all about. As the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi made a lot of mistakes. While his actions paved the way for the entirety of Naruto's plot, fans can't help but think he was directly responsible for much of the Hidden Leaf's corruption. Uh, Maybe, but he himself was not corrupt. Maybe what I would argue is maybe because he would let things probably go more than they should have. Maybe he didn't call out corruption as quickly as a lot of people would have liked. And that may have been more the issue. He was probably a little more passive as a leader, you know. Overlooking the Uchiha clan's mistreatment, refusing to stop Orochimaru when he had the chance, allowing Danzo Shimura's crimes and neglecting the village's orphans were among the worst things Hiruzen did as Hokage. So, overlooking the Uchiha, yeah, I would agree with that. He should have maybe been a little bit more active. Maybe even rescind some of the policies that regarding the Uchiha that Toby Rama had done, because obviously we've seen that there were Uchiha like Itachi who were actually loyal to the village, you know, and recognizing that fact. But if you didn't stop Orochimaru when he had the chance, that would have probably helped a lot. That would have probably helped a lot. But then you just but if you didn't have that subtext of Orochimaru being his former student and all that, you would not have had a major plot point in Naruto in which Orochimaru trying to get his revenge. And we wouldn't have seen like some of the cool fight scenes like Naruto. We wouldn't have seen like Naruto and Gaara's um fight in which helped to reform Gaara. Right, going from the loner that everybody feared, much like Naruto, to actually where we have that situation where Gaara considered Naruto his first friend, and even you see not only the change in Gaara but also the changes in Tamari and Konkoro as well in that. So allowing Danzo Shimura's crimes, yeah, he should have been a little bit he should have been a little bit more assertive. I think it's more he just was not as assertive or not as forceful as a leader as um, neglecting the village's orphans. Um, I don't know if I would entirely agree with that one, just simply because um, we've seen instances where in the cases of Naruto and Iruka, he would try to help them through their through their issues, even before before they became so I don't necessarily agree with that he neglected the village's orphan. And also, even if he did, it's like it's one of those things as leader, um you can't like show favoritism either. We're among the worst things. So he was one of the worst side characters because he was well respected despite his constant failures, which seemed unrealistic. Again, I don't entirely agree with. I mean, I think the aspects I would probably point out in with this was that there are areas where he could have been more assertive. Maybe in dealing with Orochimaru and with well, I think in dealing with the Uchiha clan situation and dealing with Danzo, he definitely was maybe too passive in those situations. Orochimaru situation, you kind of understand because that's like you had a similar situation when you had Kakashi and Obito as well, right? Where initially Kakashi had a much harder time killing Obito when he was brought back, because again, the personal relationship, you know. So, and as for neglecting the orphans, I don't think he really neglected the orphans. From everything we saw, his interactions with the orphans, like Naruto and Aruka. Um, if he neglected any child, it was his own grandson. Some people might argue that he neglected Konohamaru, a bit. But again, that can also be argued that some of that is due to the fact that Asuka, it's kind of the same argument what you got going on with Boruto and Naruto, right? Boruto is not thrilled at his father being Hokage because he feels that his father is neglecting his family. Not again fully grasping understanding the weight of being Hokage. So I don't fully agree with her assessment with Brooks' assessment on Saratobi, there isn't Saratobi being on that side. Tobirama Senju set the Uchiha clan up for failure. And I realize probably do have that already at the hour mark. I probably do have that. Tobirama Senju competed for the worst Hokage with Hiruzen. Hiruzen allowed the Uchiha clan's mistreatment. Tobirama planted the seed for that hate as a member of the Senju clan who stood as rivals to the Uchiha. Tobirama never accepted Madara or his family. Um, to an extent, that's true. I think the part of him not accepting Madara is true. Um, you know, albeit he did acknowledge, he acknowledged there were even some Uchiha who were still pretty faithful to the village despite of that as well, even during his time. So, let's see. Okay, all right. The second Hokage's attitude toward the Uchiha led to Danzo's crimes. The Uchiha massacre, the misuse of the Edo Tensei, and Madara's twisted plot. As a side character, he was poorly written and did a lot of damage despite having little screen time. Um, yeah, I mean, you could, yeah, I guess you can make the argument that does have a certain amount of truth to it. Orochimaru conducted human experiments. While Orochimaru was a well written character, he was a creep and eugenicist. Okay, so was Khan. Okay. Oh my god. She oh, please. Brooke. You for any good action adventure series, you need to have bad guys. Oh my goodness. She's basically saying that he was a bad side character because he actually played the part of a bad guy? Really? Really? Get that. You're a bad side character. You're a bad character because you were actually very proficient at doing what you were meant to do. Where's this girl from? Dixieland? Oh boy. His crimes were so evil that he landed on the worst characters. Well, I mean, if anything, that I would think if he was if he was written to be a bad guy and he was very proficient at being the bad if by how he was written, if it was to show just how depraved and evil he was, and he executed that, how can you put him on a worst side character list? He got the job done for crying out loud. Ay, ay, ay. Anyways, not only was I wonder what this I wonder what this girl's vision for Naruto is. Is it just everybody just sitting around drinking tea all day? What? Oh boy. Not only was Orochimaru frustratingly difficult to defeat or capture, but he also committed unforgivable acts like experimenting on young kids, making imprisoned kids fight to the death, and taking over other people's bodies to maintain his youth. Orochimaru and Danzo were the evilest characters, and they worked together for a time. His relentless and disturbing pursuit of innocent children made him one of the worst. Ah, oh, God. Oh, God. Of course, he was an evil character. And yes, the way they wrote him to be very dark and very evil. But you need to have strong antagonists in order to drive a good action adventure series. Whether it's an action adventure anime or an action adventure Western produced program, whatever. You need at the end of the day, when you think about a bad guy, if at the end of an episode, if you absolutely hate that bad guy, then they did their job. if you if he commits such evil acts that you want to jump through the TV screen and strangle him, they've done their job. Ay, ay, ay. She's putting him on the worst side characters list because he was great at doing it. The writers were great at doing their job. Brooke, please. Oh my God. And of course, with this last statement she made, it's almost like there's another subtext she's trying to push there. And I'm sure we all can interpret what that means. It has something to do with the letter P, if you get what I mean. Oh, jeez. Kabuto Yakushi was worse than Orochimaru. Kabuto Yakuchi was Orochimaru's right hand man. By the end of the series, he outpaced his mentor as one of the evilest characters. His active participation in Orochimaru's schemes, genetic experimentation, and Triple Agent Act solidified him as one of the worst people in Naruto. I could agree with that part. Does that really make him a bad character, though? Again, I go back to what the what I was pointing out in with Orochimaru. If he was designed to be that evil, and at the end, if it helped to drive the story, he did his job. If at the end of the day you hated his guts and you wanted to jump through that screen to strangle him, they did their job. Character did their job. Ah, Kabuto surpassed Orochimaru by perfecting the Edo Tensei and becoming more powerful overall. Yet his motivations didn't make as much sense as Orochimaru's. He worked with Obito and Madara to cause a war, switching sides frequently. But his unclear and unbelievable ambitions made him an ineffective. Um, I could kind of agree with that. You know, at least, yeah, at least Orochimaru did have a goal, and Orochimaru was trying to be a master of all jutsu. You may not have liked how he went about it. You may have even felt that some of the ways he went about it, like human experimentation, particularly human experimentation on kids, was morally wrong. That didn't necessarily make Orochimaru a bad side character, and it doesn't make Kabuto a bad side character. You need to have strong antagonists in order to drive a series. You can't have wishy-washy um, antagonist, or else the series will fall flat. Why do you think Naruto is so popular? There was a lot of good, and I have agreed with some of the analysis of some of the characters, but overall, I think Brooke is taking it. I think Brooke is maybe taking herself and her own opinion too serious. What I'm we have. Hey, hello. Oh, 666. An article about Nook and Jerk. Did you watch 8 Mile? No, I haven't seen 8 Mile, and no, there's no article about Nook and Jerk. I don't even know what Nook and Jerk are. Anyways, okay. So now we got 4 people watching. Okay, that's good. So why can I see the code 066 gaming hey Mr. What I remember, Kabuto um alliances changed without a real reason. Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately, yeah, Mr. Yanafu, I think ultimately Kabuto, first and foremost, was basically unto himself. Okay, he was a lot. He was first and foremost allied to himself, and his ambitions and stuff like that. And he would go around changing alliances, as would that would suit his whatever his goals were. Um, so that's kind of where that's at with that. But anyways, continuing on with the article, I think and if you guys haven't already, if you guys can like and share the stream, so we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. Um, yeah. So, anyways, Kaguya Otsuki was a cop out villain. Now, I haven't got to this point in Shippuden yet where, I mean, I had heard a bit of the name, and, I've watched the openings and seen, Kaguya's presence, but I don't know if I'd have much to say about this particular character because I haven't actually exposed to their arc yet. So, because as I said, I'm still at the point where Naruto Naruto and Obito are actually where they're at on the Toonami thing is they're about to get into the second Chunin arc where Sakura and many of the other members of the Konoha 11 became Chunin. So we're about to get into that part. But anyways, back to the article here. Kaguya Otsutsuki um, was one of the most hated additions to Naruto Shippuden. The series built up Madara and Obito to be the ultimate foes, but when Kaguya appeared, fans felt it was a cop out. She and the Otsutsuki um, Otsutsuki seemed to come out of nowhere. If the show committed to her as its main villain from the beginning, there are many ways Kaguya could have impacted Naruto more. Well, I mean, yes, the baseline point there is viable. Again, I don't, I don't know as much about this portion of the arc because I haven't seen it yet, but I will be in the coming weeks here, probably, or coming months. But unfortunately, her appearance's randomness made her one of the worst side characters, and fans still cringe when remembering her introduction. Yeah, I mean, again, I would say that is kind of true. You know, bring a character in and not really build them up well does kind of. Yeah, I did cover that article yesterday, Code 66 Gamer. The one about Chainsaw Man on Crunchyroll. What's your favorite? Okay. Yeah, agreed. It looks like her appearance was just to extend the series. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know as much because I'm not there yet. I will get there, so I'll probably would obviously have more to say once I've seen how she was introduced, but I'm not in terms of what I've watched of Shippuden. I'm not there yet, so there's not much I can really say other than just simply comment on the baseline premise here that she may have a point. You know that in this case with Kaguya, Brooke may have a point. So, all right, so Donzo Shimura was the most hated character. Okay, let's see what she's saying about this. The most universally hated character in Naruto Shippuden was Danzo Shimura. Danzo's worst crimes included creating an underground organization of brainwashed children, Root, helping Orochimaru with his human experiments, and pulling strings in the Uchiha clan massacre. Okay, I said this before about Orochimaru. I said it about Kabuto, and I'll say it about Danzo here. All good action adventure anime need strong antagonists to help drive them. Evil characters being evil does not make them a bad side character. It means they're doing their job. If if you have a character who is written to where you hate his guts, to where you want to go right through your TV screen into that world to get your hands around his throat, if that's what the writers wanted you to feel, and you felt that, they did their job. So to say they're a bad side character because they did their job is stupid. I said that about Orochimaru. I said it about Kabuto. I have to say it again about Danzo here. She's saying that these are the worst characters because, they actually did their job. Sasuke was the most hated pretty boy, got all the women, and he don't he don't care. Yeah, it's kind of funny because they actually it wasn't Sasuke that she criticized earlier. You know, you make a very interesting point there, Mister Young. Now, this is according to this author Brooke Thomas's, you know, opinion, who the 10 worst side characters are in Naruto. Um, I think she would have been better off saying who the 10 most hated characters were, you know, because that's, you know, and she talked about Karin and Karin's obsession with Sasuke. You know, you can go back to, anyways, it does look like I may need to wait a few more minutes, but anyways, we're already at hour 23. So I've just had a lot to say on this one article in particular. But Danzo used the Uchiha to steal the Sharingan and plant them all over his body. He planned to use this power to overthrow the Hokage and take over the Hidden Leaf. Danzo Shimura's sick crimes and lack of fan support made him the worst side character in the show. I would have to disagree because again, I don't know if there are any worse side characters. I mean, I think this art instead of saying worst side characters, she should have called this the 10 most hated characters and why they were so hated. To call them the worst side characters, um, I don't really think that these were bad characters, nor were they badly written, because they accomplished the goals that they probably wanted to have these characters deal with. Okay, so I think I think using the term worst side characters is I think using the term worst there is wrong. I think she should have said the 10 most hated characters, side characters. That would have been more, I personally believe, appropriate for what she was trying to communicate. Donzo was a pretty good character, um, a bad one, but was a good he was a good element. Well, yeah, as I said, I think the idea of calling these the 10 worst characters is a bit of a misnomer because characters ultimately did the job they were trying to do. And if you're going to call a character if you're going to call like a villain a bad character because they actually did their job and did their job well, then I personally think you're being foolish. The idea was to make a real nasty villain to make it to where you want to jump through the TV screen and strangle them. I wouldn't say that's a bad character. I'd say that's actually a good character. Anyways, I'm going to step away from the computer for a quick moment here to kind of get my lighting resettled here. I'll be right back. I'll leave you guys some music to listen to while I'm doing this. I'll be right All right, I'm back now. We'll get ready to move on to the next article. All right, here's the next one. I'll try to speed up a little bit because I know we're already coming up on an hour and a half. So I'll try to speed things along a little bit here. Let's see. Godzilla, Evangelion, Ultraman, and Kamen Rider team for the Shin Japan Heroes universe. Franchises connected by writer and director Hideaki Anno team up for a series of new events and attractions coming to Bandai Namco stores. Article by Michael Cerna, published 6 hours ago. Fans in Japan will soon get to experience um, a unique Godzilla, Evangelion, Ultraman, and Kamen Rider crossover firsthand. The Shin Japan Heroes universe, the special collaboration project between the four anime and tokusatsu or masked hero franchises um, that have been worked on by Evangelion creator and Shin Godzilla co-director Hideaki Anno. I believe that's supposed to be Hideaki. Um, announced on its website that it will open mini theme parks within 3 Bandai Namco store locations within Japan. The crossover attraction, which will be known as Shin Japan Heroes Amusement World, will feature interactive exhibits, games, and quote unquote VR experiences that feature characters from all four series interacting with each other for the first time ever. That does sound kind of like a cool idea there. Shin Japan Heroes. Shin Japan Heroes. So Shin Japan Heroes Amusement World main attraction will be quote unquote Operation Shin 765, a live role playing experience that casts guests as special agents who are tasked with protecting Japan from a combined attack force that includes the Angels from Neon Genesis Evangelion, a kaiju from the Ultraman series, Shocker Troop from Kamen Rider, and of course the king of monsters himself, Godzilla. The mini theme park will also feature two virtual reality kiosks, the first of which will allow fans to finally, quote unquote, get in the robot and pilot Eva Unit 01 themselves. The second allows players to control an attack helicopter that is tasked with stopping one of Godzilla's city flattening rampages. The mini theme park will also host two attractions based around Shin Ultraman, the new theatrical reboot of Suburaya Productions' iconic kaiju battling TV series. The first will be a puzzle game and task players with observing a kaiju and then determining the weak point, while the second will be a roulette style game that will allow visitors to win special movie merchandise. Hey, Chad. Thanks for dropping in. If you can also drop a like and share if you haven't already, that'd be appreciated. So far, the Shin Japan Heroes Amusement World attractions have only been confirmed for the Bandai Namco stores in Yokohama, Osaka, and Hakata. Um, since Bandai Namco doesn't operate any similarly sized permanent retail establishments in most other countries, it's unlikely that any kind of special exhibits or interactive events will ever make their way over to other regions, like here in America. It is worth noting, however, that the company has previously opened up temporary pop up shops in the United States and does operate some specialized Gundam focused stores in several countries. Shin Japan Heroes Universe, meanwhile, is currently riding high off of the successful premiere of Shin Ultraman in Japan on May 13th, which was last Friday. The movie, which was written by Ano and directed by Shinji uh, Higuchi, pulled in over 993 million yen, about 8 million US dollars at current exchange rates. It is first in its first 3 days of release, outpacing the box office performance of the duo's first Shin movie, 2017 Shin Godzilla. Ano's third tokusatsu reboot, Shin Kamen Rider, is scheduled to premiere in Japan in 2023. Oh, there we go with that one. We will. Yeah, okay. So we got one. This is our last anime article we're going to touch upon. Um, again by Brooke. This is the 10 best Naruto side. Again, I think calling them best and worst was probably not the right word usage. I would say that she should have used most hated and loved characters, respectively. That probably would have made more sense if her arguments and reasoning go along the same lines here that they did in previous article we read from her. Then I'd say better words would have been um, hated and loved as opposed to worse than that. Anyways, I'm gonna need to step away from the computer again for a couple minutes. I'll be right back. I'll leave you guys some music to listen to while I'm gone. Be right back. Alright, I'm back, and it's going over 2 hours at this rate. Alright, so 10 best Naruto side characters ranked. There are many enthralling side characters in the Naruto anime, from the powerful Pain to hilarious Rock Lee. Article again by Brooke Thomas, published 5 hours ago. Alright, so let's see what her how she decides these best. As Naruto's legacy series, Boruto changes the franchise's entire landscape and essence. Fans have been looking back at the many characters who popularized the show. Um, Naruto was famous for having entertaining fights, inspirational protagonists, and complex side characters. Yet some of those side characters outshone others. Well, as is always the case with any show, though. Um, and lauded some supporting figures for their complexity, as was the case with Naruto Shippuden's Pain Nagato, the leader of the Akatsuki. Um, Others were beloved for their comic relief or quirkiness, as seen with Jiraiya and Rock Lee. Now, the funny thing about Jiraiya in particular, if she's gonna say, I almost am wondering if some of the same arguments that she would make that went against Ebisu could also be applied to Jiraiya, and she might try to make those arguments as to why Jiraiya was one of the best side characters. But we'll wait and see there. Naruto has some of the best side characters in anime, from humorous heroes to tragic foes. Right? Zabuza was an iconic Naruto villain. The first villain Naruto Uzumaki and his friends faced was Zabuza Momochi, a rogue ninja from the Hidden Mist and one of the 7 ninja swordsmen. He and Haku kicked off the pilot with a stunning and heart wrenching arc that got to the essence of the show's philosophy. hmm Yeah, I would agree with that. Zabuza was a brilliant villain for the series to introduce first. Their story of redemption was touching, and the pair's untimely death stayed with fans for decades. The moment Zabuza avenged Haku's death by single handedly defeating Gato's men solidified him as one of the best side. All right, well, again, I would argue that for what they were going for, Zabuza succeeded in what they wanted the character to do. So yeah, I would agree that he was a good side character here. You know. Anyways, Iruka Sensei was Naruto's first supporter. Iruka Umino's parents died during the nine-tailed fox's attack when Naruto was an infant. Knowing Naruto had the fox sealed within him should have made Iruka hate the child, as was the case with many others in the village. Um, just like the rest of the Hidden Leaf villagers did. Yet Iruka embodied the will of fire, quote unquote, and believed in Naruto when no one else would. He became a father figure for the orphan who harbored his parents' killer. And that is a very touching story. That does make Iruka's willingness to stick up for and guide the neglected protagonist proved he was one of Naruto's most wholesome and respectable side characters. Okay, I would agree with that. again, now my impression is that Brooke Thomas, you know, again, as I said before, her word choice for these titles was wrong. Should have said hated and loved as opposed, or yeah, hated and loved as opposed to most hated and most beloved characters as opposed to the worst and best characters. Pain was the best villain. Naruto had great and terrible villains. Pain, Nagato, was one of the most beloved foes thanks to its power level and complex motivations. Though he was an antagonist, Pain was a hero and a villain in many ways. I don't know if he was as much a hero, maybe more of a villain, but Pain brought the Akatsuki story full circle. He trained under Jiraiya in his youth, but the peaceful philosophy Jiraiya taught him became corrupted after years of death, war, and loss. Only Naruto's incorrigible positivity and purity could stop him. Pain was an impactful side character because he was one of Naruto's best written foils. Yeah, I would agree with that too. I would agree with that. Jiraiya was strong, funny, and philosophical. While Jiraiya had his faults, he was one of the most well liked side characters in the series. The legendary Sanin, who trained Naruto's father, became another father figure to the orphan Naruto. Even though it was always indicated that Jiraiya wasn't really somebody who was trying to be a father figure. In fact, he kept telling Naruto, hey, you got to grow up, man. You got to grow up fast. Naruto learned a lot from Jiraiya as the Toad Sage instilled a dedication to peace and reverence for life within him. Jiraiya was a pervert with many vices, but this was supposed to be a source of comic relief. Some fans felt the jokes didn't land, but Jiraiya's overall support of Naruto, complex backstory, and unyielding quest for peace made him one of the best. Yeah, okay. You could, to a lesser degree, make the same argument for Ebisu, because after a while, Ebisu changed his tune on Naruto too. After actually interacting with Naruto, Ebisu, view on Naruto changed to the point where he was even willing to give up his life to protect Naruto. This there's an interesting dichotomy between Jiraiya and Ebisu that Brooke, I don't know, fully sees. Again, though, I think this all goes back to just how she titled the articles. The 10 worst characters of Naruto and the 10 worst side characters of Naruto, the 10 best. I think, again, it should have been the 10 most hated side characters and 10 most loved side characters. And Tsunade was a strong female character, which I would agree she was. Tsunade may have had a drinking and gambling problem, but she was formidable. She became the fifth Hokage and led the village during an apocalyptic conflict. She was both the world's best medical ninja and one of the strongest fighters. Mhm. The show did her a disservice by making her unable to fight in the original Naruto series, thanks to her uncharacteristic fear of blood. However, she redeemed herself by the end of Naruto Shippuden. Her devil may care attitude, fierce loyalty to the main characters, and raw power made her one of the best side characters and best. Well, okay. I think what Brooke is missing in this particular case is the character development here. You see, how you go from Tsunade and not wanting to do anything for the village, where and being afraid of blood because of a traumatic experience, traumatic medical experience, the tragedy of seeing, you know, her kid brother and her lover killed. The character development here, where she eventually conquered her fear of blood and got through those issues, made this a great character. Okay, watching that process of her going from where she was, where she ended up. Okay, so um, for Brooke to criticize her, for her having hemophobia, to that caused her, to not be able to fight because of blood, it gave Tsunade something to conquer, a personal demon to deal with, to where she once again established herself as probably their world's best medical ninja, as well as being a strong, capable fighter and being a strong, capable leader as well. What made Tsunade a great character is watching the character development right there. That's what made her a great character. Good vibes. All right. Gaara's character arc was inspirational. I would agree with that. Let's see what her reasoning here is. Gaara's shift from villain to hero was inspirational to many Naruto fans. Like Naruto, he was a Jinchuriki and ostracized from his village. Unfortunately, the Hidden Sand was more ruthless, as Gaara's father, the Kazekage, ordered his assassination. Gaara was understandably traumatized by this and became the monster his father created. Which is true. And in many ways, his father was a pretty nasty character too because of this. Okay. He was probably not a well liked individual, and deservedly so, for doing this to his own son. You know, turning him into a Jinchuriki and trying to have people kill him for it. You know. But that doesn't make him a bad character. That just makes him a very evil. That just makes him an evil character, a villain. Yet after meeting Naruto, Gaara found another way. He used his power to become Kazekage, um, and protect the very people who shunned him. He also became a fierce ally of the Hidden Leaf. Gaara improved his likability by saving Rock Lee, which he had previously tried to kill, which is true. Yeah, he saved Rock Lee from Kimimaru, and aiding the Hidden Leaf in war. His rehabilitation and loyalty to the heroes made him a fan favorite side character. And I think that I just watched the episode, Gaara's First Friend, in which the Five Tails had asked Gaara is if he considers Naruto his friend. And we got the whole reflection, self reflection of how, Gaara, developed that first friendship with Naruto. So again, I would, Rock Lee was a fan favorite. For many reasons, Rock Lee was another inspirational character who overcame his inability to mold chakra with hard work. He became one of the strongest taijutsu users in Naruto, and even held his own against the Jinchuriki Gaara. Fans fell for Rock Lee's moments of humor, extreme diligence, and incorruptible positivity, which makes him a very likable and fun character. Rock Lee, much like Naruto, much like Naruto, is one of those characters that you do want to rally behind. It's very clear you want to rally behind him. Rock Lee had some of the best Sakuga moments in the original um, Naruto series, as seen in his fights with Gaara and Kimimaru. He was also one of the few comic relief sources who didn't rely on cheap laughs through sexual innuendos. Furthermore, he had a heart wrenching and beautiful story, making him one of the best side characters. Now, mind you, remember this is a woman writing this article, so the sexual innuendo humor just wouldn't fly with her anyways. May have flown with a lot of guys, but obviously with a lot of people, but this lady, the sexual innuendo humor didn't fly. Kashi was the coolest sensei, as they wrote him to be, as the original mangaka wrote him to be. Kakashi Hatake was the king of cool in Naruto. He was nonchalant but an extremely deadly ninja whose reputation preceded him wherever he went. He also had humorous moments, like when his students caught him reading the Icha Icha book um, series, Icha Icha series Jiraiya had written, which is a very lewd book, mind you, very adult book. Which again goes to show you, to a much lesser degree than Jiraiya and Ebisu, but Kakashi was a pervert as well, just not as noticeable. Kakashi's triumphant victory against Zabuza established him as one of the most formidable characters. He always had a plan for a unique jutsu to employ. He was known as the copy ninja after all. He fiercely protected his students and had a hilarious yet touching friendship with Might Guy. Mm-hmm. Kakashi is one of the most popular Naruto side characters for a good reason. Yeah. Again, I believe the titles for these two articles that Brooke wrote were wrong. It shouldn't have been worst side character, best side character. Should have been most hated side characters ranked and most loved side characters ranked. Shikamaru Nara was a supportive genius. Again, true. Shikamaru Nara was the smartest Naruto character and had some of the best fights. They were exciting because Shikamaru relied on battle tactics instead of physical attacks. Fans loved watching his plans work out. Yeah, watching that brain of his work was a very thrilling thing to see. I'm thinking back to like his fight with Tamari, his fight with Taya, as well. And they were always interested to see his backup strategies. From his unique fight with Tamari during the tuning exams to his emotion filled confrontations with the Akatsuki's Hidan, Shikamaru's altercations were sure to be a riveting watch. His ability to direct his comrades and win with brains made him one of the most fun side characters to see on screen. And also later in the Boruto series, watching him as Naruto's number, it's kind of funny because I was just thinking about that part this past week because one of the more recent episodes I watched from Shippuden, you had you did have a focus a little bit on a mild focus on Shikamaru, and basically where they were talking about him acknowledging that he was going to do everything he could to support Naruto as Hokage. helping Naruto and be supportive in ways where Naruto may fall short. Primarily, of course, in the in the brain department. Itachi Uchiha was a tragic hero. Itachi Uchiha was initially a villain who massacred the entire Uchiha clan, save Sasuke. However, Sasuke and viewers find out that he only did this to protect the Hidden Leaf village, and the Hokage was in on the plot. This tragedy made Itachi one of the most intriguing characters. He had to kill all his loved ones, lived in exile as a villain, and carried that guilt until he succumbed to illness. Itachi's true legend was a complicated and dynamic mystery that changed everything for fans and characters alike. Thus, Itachi is one of the best side characters. All right, what I would argue here is Itachi is probably one of the most beloved side characters. You know, I just happen to disagree with like I think a lot based on Brooke's reasoning here. Okay, based on a lot of how she reasoned, it would have been better to call these the most loved characters ranked and the most hated characters ranked. That's how it would have. Let's see. I'm back. Well, you're back just in time because I'm about to hit the comics articles, Robert. Thank you for coming back. I'm about to actually get into the comics articles here. All three are having to do with DC. All right, so here's the first one we're going to look at here. Deceased returns for its final chapter, War of the Undead Gods. Tom Taylor and Trevor Hairston's DC Zombie Saga, Deceased, reaches its final finale later this year with Deceased War of the Undead Gods, article by Noah Dominguez, published 11 hours ago. Tom Taylor, boo, and Trevor Hairston's DC Zombie Saga reaches its grand finale with Deceased, War of the Undead Gods, a new monthly limited series set to launch later this year. The first issue of War of the Undead Gods is set to hit comic shops on Tuesday, August 9th. The series will run for a total of 8 issues, which would put its conclusion at around March 2023. Quote, from the original Deceased to Deceased Dead Planet, Deceased Unkillables, and Deceased Hope at World's End, acclaimed writer Tom Taylor and artist Trevor Hairston turned the DCU upside down, combining horror, heroism, and hope in the face of Armageddon, unquote, DC said. Quote, Taylor and Hairston reunite for the last chapter in the fan favorite franchise, Deceased War of the Undead Gods. And here are some of the images linked to that. Okay, so what began as a battle for Earth has become a war for the galaxy. The emergence of a reborn undead dark side in Deceased Dead Planet sets the stage for the most devastating conflict yet for Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman as the anti-life equation spreads into the cosmos. The survivors of Earth prepare for the upcoming apocalypse and realize that only hope could lie in the most powerful surviving hero from the first Deceased series. War of the Undead Gods features main cover art by Hairsine, with issue number 1 also featuring an homage variant cover by Dan Mora, an acetate variant by Kael Gu, a 1/25th horror variant by Francesco Mattina, a 1/50th variant by Sun Kamunaki, and a 1/100th version variant by Mora. Mora's homage variants for issues number 1 through 4 connect to form a larger image, paying tribute to Jim Lee's iconic cover art for X-Men, for Marvel Comics X-Men number 1, 1991, with Batman, Superman, and Darkseid falling into the roles of Wolverine, Cyclops, and Magneto, respectively. And I think we had actually read a little bit about that too. Some of that coming out. Created by Taylor, the Deceased Saga takes place in an alternate version of the DC universe, where a corrupted version of the anti-life equation has resulted in a widespread zombie outbreak, with numerous iconic characters being infected. The original Deceased was a 6-part limited series written by Taylor and penciled by Hairsine that launched in May 2019. In July 2020, Deceased received a sequel in the form of a 7-part limited series, Deceased Dead Planet. Again written by Taylor and penciled by Hairsine, the DC Zombie Saga also has a number of spin-offs, including the 2019 one-shot Deceased, A Good Day to Die, the 2020 3-part limited series Deceased Unkillables, and the 2020 15-part digital first anthology series Deceased Hope at World's End. War of the Undead Gods was first teased in February 2022 when Taylor announced a third main Deceased series, which would implicitly be the saga's last. Written by Tom Taylor and illustrated by Trevor Hairsine, Deceased War of the Undead Gods number 1 goes on sale August 9th from DC. All right, so there's that one. As always, guys, if there's anything on any of the topics here that you want to comment on or ask about, feel free to do so. I know we're already past 2-hour mark here, but I'm glad to see some of you guys still here. All right, let's see. Next up, here's the second of the 3 DC comic articles we're going to go through. DC's Nightwing leads 2022 Eisner Awards with 5 nominations. Comic-Con International announces the 2022 Eisner Award. Now, of course, these were named after legendary comics writer, creator Will Eisner. Nominations which include titles such as Nightwing, Destroy All Monsters, and many more. Article by Brandon Schwer, published 10 hours ago. DC's Nightwing has landed 5 2022 Eisner Award nominations, while other series, such as DC's Wonder Woman Historia, The Amazons, Images Destroy All Monsters, and many others, also up for various awards. Comic-Con International announced nominations for Will Eisner Comic Industry Awards 2022, which are for works published between January 1st and December 31st, 2021. Over 150 titles, approximately 65 publishers from approximately 65 publishers are represented in the nominations, with 32 awards being given out in total. DC led the pack with 15 nominations, plus 7 shared, followed by Image with 14 nominations, plus 4 shared, and Fantagraphics with 11, IDW, who also received 11 nominations with its subsidiary Top Shelf, while Viz Media has 8. Marvel has 7 with plus 5 shared. Boom has 7 plus 3 shared. Abrams has 5. Dark Horse has 5. Mariner Books has 5. Magnetic Books has 4. And Oni has 2 plus 2 shared. Voting for the awards is a two-step process. Prospective voters can apply by clicking here. After completing the form, eligible voters will fill out a ballot and cast their votes. Those who previously registered and all comic book industry professionals are eligible to vote. The voting deadline is June 8th, while new voters must register by June 1st. Winners will be announced in a gala awards ceremony held at 2022 Comic Con International San Diego on July 22nd. Read the full list of nominations below. Best short story, Funeral and Foam. So I'll just breeze. I'm not even a. Let's see. You got. You guys take a quick look at those. Best short story. I won't read them out just for time's sake. Best single issue, one shot. Must be able to stand alone. Best continuing series. Best limited series. Best new series. Best publication for early readers up to age 8. Best publication for kids ages 9 to 12. Best publication for teens 13 to 17. Best humor publication. Best anthology. Best reality-based work. Best graphic memoir. Best graphic album new. Best graphic album reprint. Best adaptation of another medium. Best U.S. edition of international material. Best U.S. edition of international material Asia, a la manga. Best archival collection project strips at least 20 years old. Best archival collection project comic book at least 20 years old. Best writer. Best writer artist. Penciler, inker or penciler, inker team. Best painter, multimedia artist, interior art. Best cover artist. Best coloring, best lettering, best comics related periodical journalism, best comics related book, best academic scholarly work, best publication design, best web comic, best digital comic, and that's it. I wasn't going to read all the selections there. Obviously, there are a lot many. We're already over 2 hours here, so I'm going to try, as I said, I'm going to try to go through these a little quicker here. Anyway, so that's all. And then we have one more article to go through. Then we'll do some wrestling news wrap up and then start to wind down here. And it's kind of what we talked about in the previous article, too. DC's Deceased is about to perfectly homage Jim Lee's X-Men cover. Dan Mora references Jim Lee's classic 1991 X-Men cover spread in a stunning piece of art featuring DC's finest as they confront Darkseid. We read a little bit about this in the previous Deceased article as well. Article by Jeremy Blum, published 6 hours ago. So, the final chapter of Deceased fan favorite zombie saga, is arriving this August with a bold cover by Dan Mora that references a 1991 piece of art by former X-Men penciler Jim Lee, who now serves as DC's chief creative officer. DC's War of the Undead Gods is an 8-issue series um, written by Tom Taylor and illustrated by Trevor Hairsine, both of whom worked on the previous Deceased series, variant covers by Dan Mora for issues 1 to 10, 1 to 4 rather. Um, form one cohesive image homaging Lee's art for issue number 1 of Marvel's 1991 relaunch of X-Men. So here we go. Here we go. Here with some images here. Lee's original artwork showed Magneto gesturing menacingly towards the reader, while Cyclops, Wolverine, Iceman, Psylocke, Rogue, Colossus, Gambit, Beast, Storm, Angel, Jean Grey, and Professor X dash towards him. Mora's cover swaps Magneto for Dark, replaces Marvel's mutants with Superman, Batman, Green Arrow, The Flash, Wallace West, Mary Marvel, Wonder Woman, Big Barda, Lobo, Shazam, Cassandra Cain. So I guess they got Cassandra Cain to be Shazam, huh? That's interesting. Green Canary and Cyborg. Lee's original iconic cover marked the start of Marvel's mutant dominance in the 1990s. Written by Chris Claremont, with Lee serving as penciler, X-Men number 1 received the Guinness Book of World Records in 2010 for the highest-selling single comic book. Recently, Lee's cover was homaged by Todd McFarlane, another best-selling artist of the 90s, for issue number 3 of The Scorched, a team-up book starring the various Hellspawn of the Spawn universe. Mm-hmm. And I know that Chris Claremont had a hand in a number of the Marvel animated series of the 90s as well. A lot of his work, I know a lot of that X-Men work he was doing in the comics went right into the animated series as well. Deceased, originally a limited series launched in 2019 that investigated how the DC universe would fare when facing a zombie apocalypse, exploded in popularity and received a sequel, Deceased Dead Planet, in 2020. Several spin offs were published that delved further into the series' dystopian, undead laden world, including the one shot Deceased, A Good Day to Die, a 3-part limited series, Deceased Unkillables, and an anthology series, Deceased Hope at World's End. Known for its gripping horror themes and willingness to kill off DC mainstays like Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, who have respectively been replaced by their children or proteges, Damian Wayne, John Kent, Joan Kent. I can see with the joke there. But I believe that E is a typo. And Wonder Girl, Deceased, will finally come to its long-awaited conclusion in War of the Undead Gods. The series sees the fight against the undead turn into an interplanetary struggle as a reborn Darkseid unleashes the anti-life equation across the cosmos, targeting the current defenders of Earth in his sights. The plot sounds similar to the whole Black Lantern saga arc. DC's War of the Undead Gods hits comic book stores shelves on August 9th. All right. So we're done reading the articles. Done with the article. So I got some wrestling roundup to do, and then probably start to wrap things up here. So there's some more news that came out in the whole Sasha Banks Naomi walkout situation. What basically from as for so basically what I think is going on. What I guess the issue apparently was is that Sasha in particular was not happy with how they were pushing the SmackDown women's tag division. That may have been the underlying issue there. It seems like it's going to get real nasty because you got a lot of personal connections here. Sasha Banks, who they touted as the cousin of Snoop Dogg and Brandy and all that. Her husband is a former Cambodian American professional wrestler who's now a costume designer with the WWE. Naomi, aka Trinity Fatu, formerly Trinity McCrary, she's married to Jimmy Uso, Jonathan Fatu. So they may not go. So there's theories that they may not go after Naomi, and plus that there seems to be a bit of a consensus believing that Naomi may be more of an innocent, but she's kind of more like she's being like kind of let's see, her former Funkadelic partner Arian Andrews, aka Cameron, that came out and said that she believes that Sasha is manipulating Naomi. So lots of wrestlers have left the WWE. Well, yeah, but what makes this story a little more what makes this story a little bit more important, Chad, is Naomi and Sasha are still under contract with the WWE. Their contract is not up and not due to be up for a while. Okay? They literally walked off the job. Yeah, you're talking about how a lot of wrestlers have left the WWE, which is true, but that's usually because their contracts were up and they chose not to renew. Their contracts were up and they chose not to renew it, or they were let go. Okay, they were fired, either through downsizing or some other issue. Naomi and Sasha have both been removed from live shows through July. So, wow, yeah, they quite literally walked off the job. That's why this is a story. It's not a case of their contract was up or coming up, and they just felt like they just wanted to leave early. No, they were. In fact, it's kind of one of the other things being talked about with it as well is that even though they were SmackDown Tag Champions, they were going to actually get they were both going to be probably getting some major singles pushes here, because originally on Monday Night's Raw, they were both scheduled to participate in a 6-pack challenge that would determine the number one contender to the women's title. Naomi was originally set to win that match, and then it looked like they were what the talk was they were going to build up to where Naomi would take on Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's Championship, and Sasha Banks would challenge Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's Championship, but something about that just seemed to bug them. I think the conjecture seems to be that they felt that the women's tag division was not getting the due respect it should have, and that's what apparently what set them off. Now, as I said, more news will come out about it over the next few days. That was basically that's basically the update there. And then on the AEW side of it, right now, of course, Dynamite is going on right now. Among other things, you have a number of matches in both the men's and women's tournaments for the Owen Hart Foundation tournament, which it's Wild Card Wednesday. So both the Wild Card or Joker matches, Samoa Joe will be facing a mystery opponent. Is scheduled to face a mystery opponent, and of course, I'll recap all of that tomorrow as well. And Dr. Britt Baker is also going to be taking on the Joker. Other matches in that tournament include Ray Phoenix taking on Ryan O'Reilly in the other quarterfinal match, and then the first semifinal will be taking place as well with Jeff Hardy taking on Adam Cole. Also on the night, Wardlow is supposed to get 10 lashes, as part of his condition for getting MJF in the ring. Hangman Adam Page will be in a match against a New Japan guy. I can't remember that guy's name off the top of my head, but will they get sued for breaking contract? I don't know. They could, but I doubt it. Only because like Naomi may have a bit of a past because her husband is Jimmy Uso. Okay, Naomi, whose real name is Trinity Fatu, she's married to Jimmy Uso, Jonathan Fatu. Okay, and as you guys know, the Inoue family, which the Fatus are a part of, going all the way back to Alpha and Sika. The Rock's also part of that family, that Samoan dynasty, as it were. They do have a significant amount of power in the WWF. So Naomi, and plus, in Naomi's case, again, there are a lot of people who feel like she's being manipulated by Sasha Banks. Sasha seems to be the ringmaster here, as it were, of all this conflict here. She seems to be the one with the issue. And Sasha has significant power because of the people who would be backing her, like her cousin Snoop Dogg and Brandy. So, yeah. Also, Chris Jericho is scheduled to confront face-to-face confrontation with William Regal tonight as well on Impact. So that's all of the wrestling news I got for you guys. So we're gonna go ahead and start wrapping things up a bit here. Go through, today being Wednesday. Oh boy, okay, I did it again, didn't I? All right, well, that one's gone then. I really wasn't paying. All right, so actually we have two pieces of niche history because I goofed. Goofed again and got one of the things wrong with the date. So, anyways, let's take it. Today is Wednesday, May the 18th, 2022. So let's take a look back at this day in niche history. History! This time I caught it, whereas I didn't catch it last week. But anyway, so first off, heading back 30 years ago today to 1992, the production company Golden Films released their version of an animated film called Sinbad. Um, as we had noted earlier, this company was putting out movies of slightly lesser quality than Disney, and Disney tried to sue them. But on this date, 30 years ago today, Golden Films Sinbad was released in theaters on this date back in 1992. So with that, so now we have one more piece of niche history to go through. Coming up on 2.5 hours here. As on this date, 25 years ago today, WCW held its Slamboree event from the Independence Arena in Charlotte, North Carolina. The main event did see Kevin Green teaming up with Ric Flair and Roddy Piper to defeat the NWO members Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and Six. You also saw on the night Steve McMichael defeat Reggie White. Saw Dean Malenko retain the WCW United States Championship over Jeff Jarrett. You also saw in the opening match of the night Steven Regal defeat Ultimo Dragon for the WCW World Television title. Also in a women's match, you saw Medusa defeat Luna Vachon, kind of rekindling their rivalry from back when Medusa was in the WWE as Alundra Blaze. In an international match, you had Rey Mysterio Jr. defeat Yuji Raka. So there we go with that one. So with that, guys, I do thank you for being here tonight. We went a little long because I really did get into the commentary on those two articles in particular about the best and worst characters of Naruto. Those are profile pieces. So don't forget, Friday, of course, we'll continue our look back at niche history for Orochimaru number one in terms of according to her worst character. Anyways, yeah, so this Friday we'll be concluding our coverage of January 1939 in terms of the historical comic. Batgo will be with me. And I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow night with for more niche news coverage. So until then, bye.